So the real question is, how can I, as a mom, a wife, an entrepreneur, a health expert, a personal development guru, but also as a woman who has struggled to see her worth, her value, and find her joy, who is now living a 4-dimensional life in body, fulfillment, relationships, and business, help you, a woman who is possibly struggling with these things also, thrive to your full potential? That is exactly what I am talking about today. I am your host, Dr. Amelia Rodrock. Welcome to Transforming Self Podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Transforming Self Podcast. I am so excited to have everybody here today listening to the podcast. So things are a little bit different. If you'll notice, it's just me today. If you've listened to any of our previous 15 episodes, you will know that Jeremy and I were doing those together. Well, big news, we have decided to split up. Not for real, just for podcasting. So we're still married, we're still together, we still love each other very, very much, but we've decided to do things a little bit differently. So I am taking over this podcast. There's a couple reasons why I am taking over the podcast. The main one is because, I really want to reach women and talk to women and just kind of relate to women on a deeper level. And I felt like I really couldn't do that with Jeremy sitting next to me. Not that I won't have him on as a guest. I know I will often, but I just was feeling that I need to do this on my own. So here I am, just me. No Jeremy sitting next to me to help back me up. So I hope you enjoy the show without him, with just me. Now this show is going to be mainly for women. I will be talking about women's issues, health with women, children, being a mom, being a business owner, like all of these different things. But if you're a dude listening to this, please, I welcome everybody. I hope everybody finds value in what we have to say. So if you're a woman listening to this, I hope you find value in it. I hope I can relate to you or you can relate to me. I hope some of the things I'm talking about are things that you're going through and what I say maybe helps you. If you're a guy listening to this, I hope what I have to say maybe helps put things into perspective a little bit for you, maybe helps you understand what your wife or partner is going through. Hopefully it's a good show for everybody. That is my goal. So what am I going to talk about today? Good question. So why am I doing this? Why do I feel the need to have a podcast and to reach women? Well, I've been a chiropractor for 7 years, and I absolutely love what I do. I love being a chiropractor. I see everybody in my office. If I look at the numbers, I see more women than men, and I relate really well to women. But for a few years now, I feel like I've had a pull to do more, and I've kind of ignored it. I've kind of tried to bury it, kind of push it aside, say, I don't have time for you. I can't do this. I'm not good enough for that. And we'll talk a lot about that kind of stuff. But I've had a pull to help women because I have kind of an interesting story, which I will talk a little bit about. And I feel like a lot of women will relate to what I have been through. And maybe with some of the things that I've been through, I can help other women, especially help like entrepreneurial women who are trying to have their own business and trying to be a mom and trying to be a wife and trying to do all the things. And maybe they have some shit in their past that is kind of holding them back a little bit. Maybe things up here are kind of holding them back a little bit. And I want to be able to help because I was you. I was you for so long. And I had to do a lot of work, a lot of deep work, a lot of uncomfortable work, a lot of work that I didn't want to do. But I knew if I didn't do it, that I would be stuck. And I would never evolve past where I was. I would always be stuck in the past. I'd always be stuck in the hurt and the pain and in all the crap that filled my mind. And I couldn't do that. I didn't want to do that anymore. So I had to do a lot of personal growth and development. So we'll be talking again a lot about that. So I finally decided that I can't ignore whatever it is inside of me that is pushing me to help women, that it was finally time to do something about it. So this is step one, doing a podcast by myself and talking to women. Step two is doing some coaching with women. I have a Facebook group, which I will put in the show notes, and I mention at the end of, I'll mention it at the end of the show. But I have a Facebook group that is dedicated all towards transforming yourself and how to do it and what to do, and all the crap that is in our mind and how we feel stuck and all of those things. So I invite you all to join my Facebook group. I invite you to invite your friends to listen. If this speaks to you, if something I say speaks to you, please by all means, listen, reach out. I'm here for all women. I want to help women. So with doing some of the work that I've done and doing some of the coaching and, being in these different groups and doing all of the stuff to help me personally, I've defined my values and my mission statement. So my values are impact, connection, and adventure. So everything I do, I want to have impact. I want to impact women. I want to impact women's lives. I want to impact people in my community. I want to connect. I love connecting with people. I will admit that I am a bit of an introvert by nature. I'm not great at small talk. I'm not great at social situations where I have to talk to people. I'm great talking in my office. I can talk to my patients. I can talk to my friends. I can do all that, but small talk isn't really my thing. But I still love to connect. There's just something inside of me that needs to connect to people and needs to be available for people and needs to love people. So connection is a big one of my values. And also adventure. I have had a life full of adventure, some good adventures, some not so good adventure, some adventure that I would love to do again, some I hope I never do again, but everything has been an adventure, and everything in my life has really led me to where I am now. And everything in my life, everything in my past has really led me to where I am now. And I love where I am now. I love my life. I embrace my life. I embrace the change. I embrace the hardness of it, because there's a lot of hard stuff. I mean, I'm married to a dude. It's hard sometimes. We'll talk a little bit about that. I have animals. I have a practice. I have a business. I have a community. It's hard, but I want to, have adventure in everything I do. The good adventure, the bad adventure, the adventure that I learned from, the adventure that I don't want to go back to. It's all an adventure. So those are my core values. And I invite all of you to think about what your core values are. Like, what are you doing in life? And where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? What are those values? Because once you know your values, you can start to set targets and start to do things in your life that are all driven towards those values. So you're staying on track. Mission statement. So a mission statement is something else I've done in my Men and Women of Iron coaching group, Freedom Formula. And trying to find a mission statement has been so hard, because I have a mission statement for my office and things in my office, but I was trying to do something different. I was trying to do something bigger, something way outside of my comfort zone. So for now, I have a mission statement, which is I help entrepreneurial women transform their health and their shitty stories that have them show up small in life so they can thrive to their full potential. So that is really my goal with what I'm trying to do with my podcast, with my coaching, with my Facebook groups, with everything I'm going to be doing. My goal is to help women transform their lives. I want them to transform their health, because health is a big thing. And if we don't have our health, if we're tired, if we don't exercise, if we don't eat good, if we don't think about our health and our bodies first. And so many of us think about our children and our husbands and our animals and our jobs and our friends and everything else, and don't think about ourselves. So I'm not even just talking like, oh, you have to eat clean all the time. No, your health, the health of yourself, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, all of that health. I want to help women transform their health, which is their whole body, everything about them, and their shitty stories. So how many here have a lot of shitty stories? Raise your hand. I hope you're all raising your hands out there. I can't see it, but I hope you're raising your hands. I had so many stories that I thought were real, that I gave power to. Not that they aren't real. I hope none of you can hear my dog snoring. She's on the bed over there snoring. So if you hear something snoring, that's my dog. She's an old girl and she's just sleeping and snoring away. So anyways, we all have stories. We all have pain. We all have hard times. And we have to be able to move past them isn't even the right phrase of what we need able to do. We need to be able to acknowledge them, to acknowledge who we were, to acknowledge that pain and those stories and that crap, because it's real. It was there. It happened to us, but we can't stay there. We can't stay in that, because if we do, we'll never grow. We'll never be able to be who we want to be or who we should be, and not even who we should be, because we're not shoulding all over ourselves, but who we were meant to be, who we were born to be. If we stay stuck in that, in the hard times and in the pain and in the sorrow and the loss, we can't be who we're supposed to be. And everybody wants to be who they're supposed to be. And we don't always know who that is. And I mean, I'm sitting here now and I've done a lot of work and I still don't know exactly who I'm supposed to be. You know, am I supposed to be this person who's in front of the Zoom, doing this video right now, this podcast right now, talking to all you women? Is this who I'm supposed to be? I mean, right now I feel like it, but maybe in a couple of years it'll be somebody different, and that's okay. Honoring that, honoring the change, and honoring the progress. It's all about progress, not perfection. That's something I've learned from my life coach, and Jay Pryor, who I've used for years. It's progress, not perfection. So we need to look at that, look at our stories, and really thrive to our full potential. And I always say thrive to your full potential, because everybody's full potential is different. Everybody, some people have different limitations. Some people want one thing and not another thing, and other people want this but not this. So really, it's your full potential. It's not my full potential. It's not your friend's full potential, or your mom's, or your sisters, or your neighbors. It's your full potential. I want you as women to thrive to your full potential. And I'm telling you, for a long time, I did not. I showed up small in life. I let all my past pain and anger and fear and frustrations and everything from my past and, just all of it run my life and run who I was. I didn't allow myself to be seen. I didn't allow myself to be loved. I protected myself. And it was a protection mechanism, because at one point in my life, I had to do that to survive. Because if I didn't, I would have died, and not literally died, not for real died, but inside of me. I had to protect that something inside of me that I didn't know if I could let other people see. And it was hard. It was a hard process to be able to be fully seen. And I'm still working on it. It's a muscle I flex every day. It's not something I naturally do sometimes. Vulnerability is really hard. And that's something that we'll be talking a lot about, is vulnerability. And if you've ever read any of Brene Brown's book, and she has a book called, I think, The Art of Vulnerability. I have to look up exactly what it's called. But she talks all about vulnerability. And listening to her book and doing all this work has really helped me be vulnerable, because my story is beautiful. And the pain and the anguish and the hard times, all of it is beautiful, because it's made me me. And I really, really appreciate all of it. So that being said, my values, my mission statement, what I am here to do and what I am trying to do. So why do I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this? I'm a chiropractor. I'm qualified to talk about health and wellness, but why do I feel like I'm qualified to talk about personal development and transformation and anything else that I'm going to talk about? It's because I've done it, a lot of it. for years and years. And I feel like I have something to say, and I feel like you'll relate to me, and you'll relate to my story, and you'll relate to who I was and who I am. And something I say will help you. And that's what I want. So, my journey started a long time ago. I'm 40 years old now. I'll actually be 41 next month. So I'll be 41 soon. My kids are grown. Lots of stuff going on with kids right now. I feel very blessed that I don't have any young kids. Parents, I don't know how you're doing it right now with everything going on, having to homeschool and some of the stuff that's happening. So I feel very blessed that my kids are 21 and 19. But it has been a journey, let me tell you. So I had my son when I was 19. I got pregnant with him when I was 18. Being a teen mom is not easy. And then I had my daughter when I was 21, and their father, they have the same father, their father and I split up before I even found out I was pregnant with her. So at 20, I'm a single mother and pregnant at 20 and have her when I'm 21. So it was an adventure. It was definitely an adventure. Not always an adventure I liked or adventure I would have chose for myself, but it taught me a lot. I say that my son saved my life, because literally getting pregnant with him at 18 saved my life, because I was on a really bad road. I was not on the path of success or of even thriving, living even. I had a hard time. My father died when I was 3. I had a stepfather who was a wonderful man. Looking back, he was a great provider, and I have a ton of respect for him. He just wasn't that, what every little girl needs in a dad. And sometimes when not anymore, but, especially my husband, when him and I first started dating, it's kind of hard for me to watch him interact with his girls, because that's what I needed when I was little. That's what I wanted when I was little. And I didn't have it. I didn't have that love and that connection with a father that I so desperately wanted. And it's hard on a kid. Having parents that are split is one thing. If they're both good parents, they both love your children and take care of them and do all the things and treat them wonderfully. But I didn't have that daddy. I didn't have it. And again, while my stepfather, raised us and provided for us and, did all the things that he needed to do, he didn't do all the things that I needed, as a daughter and as a child and as a young girl. And so I started hanging with the wrong crowd. I think I was looking for acceptance. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. I was looking for love. I was looking for warmth and comfort, and somebody to say something to me that I needed, And so I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, and, I started doing a lot of drugs with this crowd. And I'm from Southeast Kansas, really small town in Southeast Kansas. So the drug of choice in the late 90s was methamphetamines. So I did a lot of meth, and I don't look like the average methamphetamine user. I didn't then either, but I did. I used a lot to numb, to hide, to forget, to be someone different, because I didn't love who I was. I didn't love myself. I didn't love my situation. I didn't want to be doing it, but I didn't know what else to do at that time. And so getting pregnant with my son literally saved my life. So when I say it saved my life, it actually saved my life. As soon as I found out I was pregnant, I stopped doing drugs. And I've never turned back. So, having him at 19 was the hardest, but the best thing that happened to me. And I know so many of you have, maybe been there, maybe had a childhood of trauma, or had a childhood where you didn't get what you needed. Maybe you got, a house and food and clothes and that kind of stuff, but maybe you didn't have the love and the support. And I'm not saying I didn't. I have a wonderful mother, and I really, acknowledge all the work she did. I can't imagine my mother having my father die. He was lost at sea. He was in the Navy, and having a 6-month-old, I believe, son, and then me at 3, and my sister at 6.5 or 7, and my other sister at 12 or 13. I'm not really sure how old they were. But I can't imagine being a mother, a woman, and having my husband die and leaving me with 4 children. I can't imagine that. So the amount of strength she had is really commendable, and she did the best she could. I don't fault her for anything. She was a really good mom. I just happen to be a really shitty daughter at times. And I know that. We've talked about it. We've talked a lot. And I know I've been a shitty mom too. Man, I didn't know I was going to get so emotional. Sorry, guys. You're listening to this podcast and I'm crying all over the place. But I know I've been a really shitty mom at times too. And I've had a lot of really good conversations with my children now that they're older. And I know there's times that they didn't feel seen and they didn't feel heard. And they told me this. And it was hard to hear, but you know what? I'm really happy that they trust our relationship enough so they know that they can tell me some of these hard things, and I'm receptive to it, and we talk about it, and I apologize. And it's really important for children to be seen and be heard. And I am sad that I did the same thing with them that I had happen to me. I didn't really ever feel seen or heard. I was a middle child, so classic middle child syndrome right here. I had 2 younger brothers, 2 older sisters. One of my sisters was a lot louder than I was, and then your brother's always loud. So I was just kind of in the middle, forgotten. Not really, but that's how I felt. That's how I felt. I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel heard. And so, when my son told me that, that's how he felt, not seen and not heard. It struck me right here, right in the heart, because I get it. I get it. And it's been something I've had to work really hard on. And I feel bad that I have made it so now he has to work really hard on that as well. But now that he's 21 and my daughter's 19, I make it a huge effort to make sure they're seen and heard. I have dates with them, about every other week. We go to lunch. I'll go take one to lunch. And the next week I'll take the other. I call them and text them all the time. It's fun having a relationship with grown children. I was a really good mom to infants. I was a great mom to infants. I did all the attached parenting things before there was a word for it. I breastfed, I co-slept, I baby wore. I did all of those things when they were infants. And then it's like when they grew up, I just didn't know what to do. I know what happened. What happened is when I was so concerned with finding love for me because I didn't feel loved and I didn't feel needed and I didn't feel wanted by a man. And that's what I thought I needed. I thought I needed a man to quote unquote take care of me, which I know I don't need now. So we've come a long way since then. And so I spent so much time trying to find that for me that I neglected them, and not neglected in a physical way, but probably in an emotional way. And that's something that we're going to have to work through and we're going to have to talk a lot about. And we have talked about it. So see your children, hear your children. So I guess my message today is I want you to think about your core values and your mission statement. Who are you? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as in life? What do you need to work on? Write down some things that you need to work on. Think of some of your past hurts and past pain. Think of some of that and figure out what you need to do to transform past it. And then really take stock of your relationship with your children, because it is so important. Who are you for them? Who do you show up as? Do you show up as a powerful woman? Do you show your daughters what it looks like to be a woman who is self-confident and strong and loving and accepting? Or do you show up different? Do you show your son how to be loving and gentle and emotional? Or do you show up different? How do you want to show up for your children? Who do you want to be for your children? Make sure they are seen. Make sure they are heard. That is important. That is the most important thing with your children, is to see them and hear them. All right. Well, that is the podcast for today. I hope you will join me next week. I don't know what I will be talking about, but I will figure it out very soon. And we will have a really good conversation about something else. So thank you so much. Again, please reach out. Please join our Facebook groups. Please just let me know if there's anything I can ever do for you. Love you all.
We want to encourage you to join our Facebook group. We want to connect with you. We want to hear from you and really get an understanding of what's happening in your lives. Our Facebook group is Transforming Self with Doctors Jeremy and Amelia Rodrock. The link will be posted in our show notes.
Again, we're really excited to have you here with us. Until next time, be courageous.